Hello, everybody. Thank you for stopping by. I'm Thatcher Weldon. I'm going to be going over my project on lifelong learning. The lifelong learning movement started in the 1970s, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. What it was sort of an idea that we should be learning throughout our lives. Why are we not focusing on learning and education throughout our lifetime journey, not just, this typical K-12 college university idea? So um, I did my project on pearl trees, and I started off with a little bit of history. These two articles at first talk about lifelong learning, a little bit of what it is. They give some benefits. This article over here I included, it's a little bit shorter, quick to read. This article goes more in depth. They talk about some of the divisions within lifelong learning, like some of the lifelong learning experts believe that lifelong learning should focus on skills upgrades for jobs and upskilling people. Others believe it's about personal enrichment. So most people fall within kind of a spectrum on that. Then I put AB 104 program guidance. This is from the state of California. This is Assembly Bill 104, passed in 2015. And it was when this consortium model of adult education, where the community colleges and the adult schools began working together with the idea that they would be creating these kind of pathways for students so that students don't just get stuck learning English or getting their high school diploma. They have kind of a pathway afterwards to get some type of career training, which the community colleges have much more of than the adult schools. And it's been a pretty good program so far. What they provide is ESL, high school diploma, career training, short term, um, adults with disabilities programs, parents who want to upskill their academic skills to help their kids with homework, and then pre-apprenticeships are all approved adult ed programs. You can take a look at that, find out more about adult ed. Then I put the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. This was back in 2014, and this program is to provide funding assistance for any career training sources for students. So it's about trying to get people back to work and fill in all those open employments, getting people the skills they need. So this funding, some states only receive Workforce Innovation of Opportunity Act, depending on their size and how much they invest in adult ed. California, I believe, is still the number one in fiscal providence for adult education programs. I believe California even invests more than federally what they invest in adult ed. So we're lucky. We're fortunate to have that here. Then I go into some fiscal and data issues. These two articles talk about the return on investment of adult ed. So kind of more into, if we're providing this public funding for these courses, what's the return? So how does it benefit society? I think that's something as leaders we have to think about in terms of keeping the funding for our programs, because when budgets get tight, a lot of times if people feel like there isn't a return on investment, you could be cut. So then I provided the CalPass Plus Adult Ed Pipeline website. This is a place where you can go and find out all the data for adult ed throughout the state. You can look at all the different consortia. You can look at member agencies. So wherever you're located, you could find the local adult school, see how many students they serve. You can see their funding, and then you can kind of get a breakdown of what's the cost per student served here. I also provided the consortium map. This website didn't load, but I put the link in the screenshot. You can click on whatever consortia you're a part of. You can see the funding. You can see the member agencies. You can see their budgets. You can see their annual plans, 3-year plans. All of it's public data. You can see when they have meetings and join the meetings. They're public. So another good resource to find out about adult education and lifelong learning in your areas. Then I put two articles that aren't necessarily tied to education, so to say, but public exercise equipment. In the final video we'll look at, the speaker talks about in Korea and in some Asian countries, they invest in these public areas where people can interact and do things and exercise. And so I thought of that as maybe we could look at education the same way, investing in our communities and public to provide opportunities for people to be active. It's one of the things I think is really important as we seem to be getting more and more isolated. This idea of community is shrinking in our country. So then I go into blue zones, 9 reasons people in blue zones live longer, not necessarily tied solely to education, but they do talk about how connection to community, family connections, whether biological or chosen, play a role in people living longer. Blue zones are areas where people often live to 100 years old. It's not strange to see. So kind of an interesting article there to tie to education and the health of our communities. Then we go on to this article by Zhao and Biesla. It's about how education kind of creates this identity within ourselves. So think about when you were 18, graduated high school, how much have you grown since then? We don't stop constructing our identity just because we finished traditional school. We continue to construct who we are and what matters to us. Then this article talks about the right to lifelong learning. They talk about how it can build this opportunities for people who haven't had opportunities in the past, and creating more rich and lively communities, and oftentimes marginalized groups or migrants, native groups to areas, indigenous people, and they're often overlooked. So how do we include everybody in these right to lifelong learning opportunities? Because all the experts agree it's important. How do we make sure we're providing it for everybody? This was benefits to society. I looked at socials. This article, it's a lot of math, a lot of different formulas, but the main idea is that education can decrease crime in our communities. This is another area of return on investment. If we're investing in education for people, it's going to provide opportunities. I think that's tied to lifelong learning and how we can benefit our communities. 10 traits that make a positive community. They talk about what makes a good community. I think we all want to live in a place that's positive for everybody, right? So they talk about opportunities for individuals, valuing each other. So I believe lifelong learning can contribute to that. And then finally, if there's one thing you look at here, I hope you take a look at this TED Talk video. It's called New Fountain of Youth, Lifelong Learning. Ingrid Bianca Bierli, she's the Director of Humanitarian Challenges Focus Group at Duke University Focus Program. She talks about doing these semesters at SEAS with university students and with lifelong learners who range in age all the way up to 80, and how they're so youthful because they're continuing to learn and building their knowledge base. Really interesting TED Talk. And then I'd like you to think about, what do you think? What's a good investment? Is education in lifelong learning for hobbies, for personal enrichment, worth it? Or should we be looking more at this return on investment? Thank you.